Talking stress, talking emotions, talking logic this weekend. And regarding our money, are we conservative? Do we spend too much? There have been studies that revealed that we, as adults, we make financial decisions based on 90% emotion, 10% logic. Completely agree with that study, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
That could cause problems.
That could cause problems, to say it lightly.
How do you take the emotion?
What do you mean? What you mean?
How do you do that? Like, how do you come in when people are just fired up? What do you do?
Well, I think, first of all, look, we have to recognize there is a such thing as like absolute fact. There is a such thing as absolute truth. There is a right, there is a wrong. And so, not that emotions are contrary to that always, but we have to start from a place of saying like, okay, how I feel about this in this very moment may or may not be ultimately what's true, which is how I feel. And even just, look, if we can all agree to just to start there, that is a huge win. I think we all have emotions and we all think pretty highly about what we think. And being able to put that off to the side for a minute to have a conversation, I think is a good starting place.
Yeah. It's definitely tough when people come in feeling their emotions, especially as it relates to money, because a lot of us, I don't know about you, Aaron, but growing up for me, I didn't necessarily have a healthy relationship with money. My parents didn't make a bunch of money. My dad was a door-to-door typewriter salesman when I was super young. And so like we were eating ham and beans. Like that's what we had for dinner, ham and beans and hot dog soup. So for me, when I'm thinking about money, it's easy for me to get in my emotions. And I'm a certified financial planner, right? This is what I do for a living. And even I get into my emotions. So this couldn't be more relevant. Actually, it relates exactly to the client that we were talking about on the first half really of the show here. We talked about stress testing their retirement, but when it came to looking at their tax strategy, it was really easy. That's when we really start to see some emotions surface, when we start talking tax strategy. Yep. And we joke, you're going to pay taxes now or you're going to pay taxes later. You're either going to take the grounding and be done with it, or no, you're either going to take the spanking and be done with it, or you're going to take the grounding and it's going to last forever. And I think that there's no other topic where we see that surface than this right here, emotions over logic.
And part of that, which we already talked about a few minutes ago, is the fact that most people have a dollar amount as their goal.
Yep.
And if you've got a dollar amount as a goal and you think you've hit that goal, then you find out that what's yours in that ratio is actually way less than that dollar amount.
Yeah.
Than that, balance on your statement. If the balance on your statement's $1 million and then we do a tax kind of assessment and we realize that, after you pay taxes, actually you only have $700,000 or whatever the number is.
Yep.
That pops a balloon that says, wait a second, I'm not nearly as far along this process as I thought I was, and now my emotions are in it. I'm the same. I mean, I can relate. I think it's probably impossible. I'd go as far as to say it's impossible to separate emotions from logic when it comes to money if you're doing it in a vacuum.
Yep.
If you're not getting input.
If you're doing it by yourself,
yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that's actually where we come to the table. So, Mark, if you don't mind, I think it'd be a good idea to go through part of our tax strategy that it's not the same for every single person, but it's helpful to understand how this actually plays out when you come in and you sit down with a professional and they want to help you with your tax strategy. They're probably going to be talking to you from the logic side, and it's easy to get in your emotions. So let me paint the picture. Yeah, we've got our $1.3 million client. They had $800,000 in IRA, $200,000 in brokerage, $300,000 in Roth IRA.
No pension with Social Security.
No pension. Of course, they had Social Security. What most people don't realize, and what they didn't realize when they came into the office, is that the order in which you spend your money is so crucially important. It's hard to overstate how important it is.
Matt, by order, what do you mean by order?
Well, there's different types of money, right? You have taxable money. Those are going to generate 1099s every single year.
Brokerage account,
mutual
funds, et cetera. Yeah.
You've got tax-free dollars. That would be Roth IRA, Roth 401k, municipal bond income, cash value life insurance. And then you've got tax-deferred dollars. All that money that you set aside, you made that handshake deal with the government. You're not going to tax me today. You'll tax me in the future. At what rate? I don't know. Whatever the rate is at the time, that's the deal you made. Those are the three types of money. Well, the order in which you spend those dollars down in retirement has a huge impact on your total lifetime tax that you're going to pay.
Most people think, would you agree, that I'm going to spend down my biggest asset first? So if I've got more money in my 401k than I've got in my Roth, I'm just going to take money from my 401k for a while.
Yeah.
Leave my Roth alone, exhaust some of that, then I'll reassess later. I guess it's sort of it's an assumption based on balance amounts that might get you in trouble.
I think there are three typical lines of thinking when it comes to the order in which you're going to spend your money. There's that one. Yep. I'm going to spend my largest asset first and hope it lasts as long as it can last. Okay. And I don't care about the tax status of the dollars. I'm just, whatever is the largest account, that's the one I'm spending first. The other would be like a pro rata strategy where you've got taxable, tax deferred, and tax free. You're going to withdraw the same percentage from each of those accounts. And however long it lasts, it lasts. So that's a pro rata. You're taking the same amount from each bucket every year. And I think probably the most common would be I'm going to spend my tax-free dollars last. Mm-hmm. So taxable dollars first, tax-deferred dollars second, tax-free dollars last. Well, what our clients didn't know when they came into the office was the difference between the right strategy and the wrong strategy was hundreds of thousands of dollars in additional taxes paid. So I'll run through the top two strategies, and then we'll talk about the one that we actually ended up pursuing. So the pro rata strategy, you're going to withdraw the same amount from each account, and however long it lasts is how long it lasts. They were going to pay $247,000 in lifetime taxes. $247,000 in total lifetime taxes if they were to draw down just a pro rata amount. Mm-hmm. If they were to spend their tax-free dollars last, so taxable, then tax-deferred, then tax-free.
Their Roth in this case. What they had that's tax-free for them was a Roth.
Yep, that's right. Their Roth was their only tax-free dollars. So if they spend their Roth last, their total taxable total taxes paid drops from $247,000 to $176,000. That's huge. We're talking $70,000 in total taxes just by changing the order in which you spend your money.
And this is over how many years retirement?
This is over around 30 years.
30 years?
Yeah, 30 years in retirement. Now, we're not even talking Roth conversions yet. Right. We're just talking, hey, we don't make any changes. If you just decide how you spend your money could have a $70,000 impact on what you pay in taxes, period.
If you never came and talked to us, you just did what most folks do. There's a $70,000 difference in how much money you pay in taxes over the course of your retirement just in those two strategies.
Now, what if you're not talking to anybody that has some good advice? And what if you spend your taxable dollars first, your tax-free dollars second, and you save your tax-deferred dollars for last, because you don't want to pay those taxes, right? You got that big IRA, you got that $800,000 IRA, these clients did. They didn't want to pay those taxes. They're like, no, I'm going to push that off. I don't want to pay the taxes. I'll deal with that later. If you employed that strategy, you'd pay $400,000 in lifetime tax. $400,000. So this is why it's so important. We're talking $150,000 difference just in changing the way you spend your money. It can't be overstated how important this actually is.
Let me just pause there for 1 second and just say, I don't know where you're at listening to this, but chances are that was a lot of numbers and you're overwhelmed. And we're talking about $400,000 in taxes over your retirement and what do I do and doom and gloom. I just want to say real quick, this might go unsaid. It might not be necessary, but one of the things that Matt and I both agree on that we hate is when anyone who's in the financial services industry or that business uses fear or doom and gloom to convince you to talk to them. And that's not at all what we're talking about. I mean, but we have to talk about the truth. I started off this conversation talking about how there is an ultimate truth. There is an ultimate fact here, and Matt's discussing that now. The truth is that how you or I feel about a situation, about paying taxes or the order of which I'm going to draw it down, how we feel about it, if it's not aligned with fact and truth, it's not just irrelevant. It could actually take you, as Matt's example, $150,000 in the wrong direction. So not doom and gloom. We're not talking about, you better hire us for our services or else. What we're talking about is this is just the landscape. We're just laying down the landscape of what's true.
Reach out to the team at 770-741-0120. And we're giving hypothetical examples here, too. And we're just talking about in broad generalities to help you understand the importance of the tax strategy with the help from the team of the Vincent Financial Group. Again, 770-741-0120. You may not have a health problem, you may not have a wealth problem, but everybody's got a tax problem. And the team at Vincent Financial Group want to help you out with that. Matt, okay, so continue on about this strategy.
Yeah, so what we ended up doing is, number one, we laid the groundwork, and we just say, hey, you probably didn't realize that the order in which you spent your money mattered. Well, here's how much it matters for you. Here's how much it matters for you and your situation and where your money is. And then, their eyes get big and they're like, wow, I had no idea. Glad we talked about this, because this is an easy mistake to avoid. Mm-hmm. This is just a knowledge problem is all it is. It's not, you don't have to plan to just understand, the order matters. Okay, well, now that I know the order matters, I can avoid some big mistakes.
We're not even moving money yet. To your point, we're not talking about Roth conversions. We're not talking about taking money from this account, putting it here, investing this way, or taking...
This is meeting two.
Yeah, no risk assessment. All we're talking about is where is your money now, and what does that look like for your income?
Yeah, this is meeting two. You call us, you come in for a quick sit down, we chat, we find out about your goals. In that second meeting, we're delivering this information to you. Hey, if you spend your money down this way, this is what it looks like. If you do it this way, this is what it looks like. Have you seen this before? Never seen it. No, I had no idea. Of course, because no one talks about this, but we do. Mm-hmm. So the strategy that we ultimately, they ultimately decided upon, and it was just backed by the numbers, we showed them, okay, you've got this brokerage account, and you've got this large tax-deferred account. What if we just worked to convert that IRA into Roth over a set period of time? What's the mathematically most advantageous way to convert your dollars into that tax-free status so as to minimize your total lifetime taxes paid? We're not changing how it's invested. We're not moving money around. We're not trying to say you need to, buy an annuity or buy this special product. No, this is
We're not changing income. We're not saying spend this much this year and that much next year.
We are literally just trying to right the ship on your tax strategy.
Where
is your money? Let's get organized.
Yeah.
And so we ran Roth conversions for every single tax bracket. If we maxed out a tax bracket, the 10 or the 12 or the 35% tax, if we maxed out the tax bracket, what's that do to our lifetime taxes? And in this particular case, the strategy that was working the best for them was doing Roth conversions all the way up and through their 12% tax bracket. And at the end of the day, it had them paying $115,000 in total lifetime taxes. $115,000 in total lifetime taxes. If they had just closed their eyes and just picked a strategy and accidentally picked the wrong one, it could have been $400,000 in taxes. We're able to get it all the way down to $115,000. Now, of course, this is based on what we know today. Yeah. This is based on the tax rates as they exist today. Yeah. And that's all we can do. We don't have a crystal ball on what is going to happen with future tax rates, but we certainly know that if you just zoom out of the tax rate history, we're in some of the lowest top marginal rates of all time. So likely to assume that tax is probably not coming down in the future. I'm sure you both saw the news. We crossed the $35 trillion mark.
Congratulations.
Yeah, good for us.
Nice job, guys.
We did it. Hey,
a lot of hard work by...
No one can spend money like us. We got a gold medal in spending money, too. Gold medal in paying taxes, gold medal in spending money.
That's it.
So this tax strategy, we're talking about emotions versus logic. When it ultimately came down to it, we were having these clients convert a lot of dollars into Roth.
Yeah.
I mean, they had to buy into, let's pay the tax now and let's get it over with. And that can put you in your emotions.
That's logic. Your emotions are saying, don't do that.
Your emotions
I do
are
not
saying,
want to pay taxes this year.
Why would you pay that much in taxes? And the logic says, you're going to pay that much in taxes no matter what.
And more often than not, and look, I love accountants. I love a good CPA. But just fundamentally, what they're trained to do is to look backwards and save you the most money they can on last year's income. Last year's, as we file for last year, what breaks can we find for last year? And so chances are pretty high that your CPA may, or your accountant may very well support your emotions.
Yeah.
And to the black and white math that Matt's talking about here is, for at least for these clients, the logic, the facts meant a couple $100,000 swing.
About $300,000 different.
About I mean, let's take a second and just realize that, okay, these clients, 1.3 million total portfolio, just the difference in taxes, the $300,000 difference. if you're saving just to a dollar amount and you're not doing this kind of assessment, chances are you're missing the boat in a big way, and it's not necessary.
At the end of the day, for these clients, these hypothetical clients that, of course, are not real clients, that we would never talk about real clients in a forum like this. My gosh, can you believe it?
We wouldn't say their names.
If we were actually talking about real clients, gosh, we'd get in so much trouble. So these are not real clients. They're just clients. The pro rata strategy had them at a lifetime tax rate of 6.3. When we run Roth conversions through the 12% bracket, we dropped their lifetime average tax rate to 3.4%. By 2033, these clients were essentially in the 0% tax bracket. They're in the 0% tax bracket, which matters in so many ways, because now in the 0% tax bracket, guess what? Guess what's not taxable? If you don't have income that counts as like ordinary income, let's just say, if you don't have any ordinary income, by the way, withdrawals from your qualified accounts is going to count as ordinary income. So even though you may not have a W-2 wage when you're retired, if you take money out of your IRA, SEP, Simple, 403B, TSP, 401k, that counts as ordinary income. And guess what ordinary income can do to your Social Security, Aaron?
It can make it taxable.
It can make it taxable. And so these clients are getting $53,000 from Social Security in 2033, totally non-taxable, because we did the hard work of doing all the conversions up front, dropping their average tax rate from 6, 7, or 8 based on how they spend their dollars, all the way down to 3.4%, $115,000 in total taxes instead of $400,000 in total taxes. And it didn't require them to move any money. It didn't require them to buy some fancy product. It's all just about getting your ducks in a row. And this is what we do on a daily basis. And no one else is doing this, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's someone out there that is, but I haven't seen them.
We've never had a person call us and then we describe or we go through this process with them and they're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, been there, done that.
Somebody else already showed me this exact same thing. Never once. Now, to Matt's point, I'm sure there's some advisors out there that are doing it, but we haven't come across them yet, at least in our experiences. But I want to pause just for a second, Matt, and just for the sake of clarity, for the sake of being crystal clear, this is a lot of numbers, a lot of hypothetical examples.
Some non-real clients.
Some non-real clients. Just that's the conversation about emotion and logic. So from what I hear you saying, and if I'm wrong, correct me,
okay,
that the game of retirement planning isn't about how much you've saved. Now, that's not. I'm not saying that's irrelevant.
It's a game you can play.
You can, yeah, right. You can play that game, but if that's how you're checking your work, if that's what your benchmark to check against is, would you agree with me that you might be missing a big aspect of the whole point?
I think if your idea of a retirement plan is I need X amount of dollars and then I'm good, you have to blindly throw the dart at the dartboard. Probably there's at least 5 or 6 other decisions that you're going to need to hit bullseyes on.
Right.
Otherwise, that number is totally irrelevant.
That's exactly right. I'm glad you said that. That's exactly where I was going. So the point is, what I'm trying to say is that probably a lot of folks out there are hinging their retirement on the complete wrong question.
Yep.
What I want to be crystal clear with people is that all of this analysis is only possible if we move from just saving to a certain dollar amount to planning for income.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do tax planning. We can't do any sort of assessment like Matt's talking about now. We thought that some examples would be helpful, and I know this is a lot of numbers, but I think an actual example would be helpful. And so, but here's the thing. If you're not talking about income planning, how am I going to convert this pile of money to income? You can't even begin to get into this conversation.
Nope.
And yet that's where most folks are.
Yep.
It's just the reality.
So in the umbrella of this all, and like I said earlier, like somebody's listening this week and they're going, I need help with my tax strategy as well. We give you a call. What are we asking for? Are we asking for the stress test? Are we asking for the retirement roadmap? What do we specifically ask for that person that's listening that knows they have the tax burden and they know that they are going to be paying right now and they will be paying too much? What are we asking for?
What are they asking us for?
What are they asking for?
I mean,
to begin putting this analysis together.
Yeah, the reality is it almost doesn't matter. If you just call us up and say, hey, I heard you guys are on the radio and I liked what you said, we're going to run the same play for you. Yeah. Whether you ask us for a tax strategy, whether you ask us for some homemade
test.
cookies or a stress test. Like our job is to do the best job that we can possibly do. I'm a certified financial planner, which means I have to act in my client's best interest. Aaron also is a certified financial planner and has to act in his client's best interest. And so what that means is it doesn't really matter what you ask us for. If you show up to the office and say, I hear you guys help people with retirement, the answer is absolutely we do, and we're going to do our best to put you in the best position possible to succeed, and it's going to include all of this, whether you want it or not.
Yeah, I think the point is, Mark, what I think you're getting at, and I think is crucial, is that the onus is not on you, the person calling us, to ask the perfect questions.
Right.
This isn't a menu that you have to get the order just perfectly in order.
There's no secret menu.
No, there is no, let me make sure and do my homework first before I call in. The fact is, if you've been saving for retirement and you're serious about tightening the screws and dialing it in and actually knowing the cause and effect of things like taxes or income planning or inflation, whatever it might be, if you're serious about that and you call us and just say that much, hey, I've saved this much, here's what I've saved and here's how I've saved it, and look, I just want to know, what's the implications for me in retirement with my taxes? Or I just want to know, inflation's got me worried. That's all you got to say.
And we're going to say, I have no idea what the implication is, but we'll be able to tell you in a meeting or two.
Yeah.
Right. in meeting 2, we can tell you, but
do our
right
due
now,
diligence first.
no
Yeah,
idea.
sure.
Let's talk about you. Let's talk about your family.
Well, let's go back to these cookies that you could be offering as well. I mean, I know the strategies are fantastic. The team at the Vincent Financial Group want to help you with your tax strategy. Again, if you've done a great job saving for your retirement, give the team a call. Schedule that consultation. You've got $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $1 million saved. You're worried about taxes, especially taxes in the future. You're worried about income in retirement once you retire. Let's sit down. Let's stress test your portfolio. Let's put a strategy together. This weekend, it's no cost. It's no obligation. 770-741-0120. Again, 770-741-0120. You can always find the team at retireatlradio.com. Aaron, Matt, thank you. Thank you for the education and the information this weekend. If y'all want more, make sure you check out the Retire ATL podcast. It is available across all podcast platforms.